Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Symphogear XV episode 7. We are officially in the second half of the season now, and you can feel that. Especially, well, not especially, precisely because of the previous episode, which essentially just closed off the first half of the season, and it ended with many resolutions. It was the issue of Miku and Elf9 being kidnapped was more or less resolved, or rather the mystery of it and the tension of whether or not they are alive. So that is done. S.O.N.G now has full control over their headquarters again. Every government agent was expelled, I'm assuming. What else changed? We got some leads onto who might be working with Noble Red, trying to sow discord and do bad things in general, and Ogawa even managed to escape with that proof, in a style that only Ogawa can escape in. So that was quite a feat and quite a feast for the eyes. Just Kagebushi no Jutsu with his car. I mean, things like that only in Symphogear, right? Probably not, but so many things like that. The sheer density of jump the shark moments, that's only Symphogear. And of course, it couldn't have been just a closing episode. It had to open something new as well. And oh boy, did it do that. The previous episode ended with someone becoming a god. So, yeah, you can't really finish the first half of a season in a more jump the sharky moment than someone just casually turning into a god. And I think we don't know who it is yet. It wasn't shown. There was just a blast of divine energy and angelic chorus, biblically accurate angelic chorus, because it sounded nothing like a chorus. So someone became a god. Who is it? We don't know. We can assume, I can assume at least, that it would be Miku, because she did come into contact with that god, deity, divine being, being X, whatever you want to call it, in her dream, in her unconscious state. She met with it, we could recognize it by the bracer, and she is fertile ground for divinity. Her and Hibiki, the only two people in the world, as far as we're concerned, that are completely rid of the original sin. So they are the only two people actually capable of achieving divinity. And since Hibiki was quite a ways off, well, it had to jump into Miku. Of course, at Chateau de Tifauge, there were plenty of, I'm assuming, failed autoscorers, or something along those lines. Plenty of mannequin-looking dolls. I'm assuming they tried to infuse them with divinity, but it was always failing. Perhaps that's why they did. No, they didn't decide to kidnap Miku. The goal of kidnapping wasn't to get Miku. She just was at the wrong time, at the wrong place. They just wanted Elf9 to start up some machinery at the Chateau de Tifauge. Because she has Carol's body, and apparently it's like, I don't know, DNA coded or something, and nobody else can start it up. So Miku really came there, was moved there by sheer coincidence? I don't think anybody, including the old fart, actually wanted Miku to be there and wanted Miku to become a god. I think that's something they didn't plan for. So, what can we see in today's episode? With the pace this season has been going so far, I fully believe that we will learn who is inside of the god cocoon, and I 90%, 95% believe it will be Miku, because who else? And besides that, we might even resolve that whole matter. I don't know. We'll see. This season had a tendency of resolving things very quickly and not even giving them the time to sink in between episodes. Many issues, many problems, many events are just contained to a singular episode. I wonder if this will be the case as well. And if it is, I wonder what will be left for episodes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I don't know. I have nothing to say. I have no predictions to make. I genuinely have no clue what will the rest of the season bring. None. Zero. Zero clue. Zero ideas. Besides, like, galaxy scale battle of God Hibiki versus the custodian of all custodians, the Decagrammaton himself, or, something like that. Something like that. Yeah. I'm not gonna go that far because it's pointless. Let's focus on today's episode, on episode 7. And to focus on it, of course, you will need your subs. Why is it already started? You will need your subs and the timer to follow along. I'm gonna need sound to hear what's going on, of course. And I will have to ask you guys for your support. Monetary Patreon throne links in the description below. Or not, share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching episode 7 of Symphogear XV in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, I also want to know what. This looks like some sort of a solar tower, but those things don't look like solar panels, they look like coffins. Okay, so it's full on mind control. Right, another thing that happened, of course, Grumpy Old Fart started mind controlling Tsubasa. Okay. That script was in German, I think. I wonder if it's an excerpt from some actual book or something. For what purpose, though? Oh, hello, Carol. I didn't expect you here. Oh, so they did place Miku near the bracer. So did they intend to turn Miku into a god? But perhaps in a more controlled way, right? On their own terms. Right? Brainwash her first, go through that whole process. But it seems like the process of deification has started a little bit early. Interesting. Hot. Sage, thyme, and eucalyptus. Very interesting. And lemon peel, I think. Very interesting and equally hot. I need to learn to start making my tea a little early to give it time to cool off. Or get some bigger radiator than just a spoon. That was actually a way that I used to cool my drinks if they were too hot. I would just stuff the cup full of knives, like, steak knives and forks and spoons and stuff like that to radiate the heat away. Or I need a metal mug. That's also an alternative. Also, what's the deal with this scorpion and with this bionicle can? Or is it a pipe? The emergence of a new god. That's what's going on. Okay, so we are all caught up. We know already that it is Miku. Okay, she's fast. Oh, that's interesting. It's like fucking Looney Tunes just plugging the gun with her finger. That was cool. Does she have a spare hand, though? Okay. Oh, now the cocoon is also capable of destruction. When Hibiki turned into a god, the cocoon was mostly just inert. Google, please, I didn't call you. Okay, we're getting some henshins again. Or at least Kirika's henshin. On one hand, those henshins are so elaborate that I thought they're gonna be using them sparingly, because they are very much a highlight moment, and also take a fair bit of time. On the other hand, I mean, they made something cool, so they wanna flaunt it a little. I say as she's doing the flaunting. Interesting that they would lead this fight with Kirika's song. I would have expected Hibiki, although that might be left for when the cocoon hatches and Miku is inside. They're gonna be close to defeating it, and then it will be revealed that Miku is inside, they will waver and be defeated. Is that what we're gonna do? I have a feeling it is. It feels just tropey enough and just cool enough to happen in Symphogear. Starting with Ready Go again. They really are getting some serious mileage, whatever, out of the Ready Go phrase. Yeah, you need a god killer. We went through it. Oh. Oh, it's turning into a tardigrade. You need a god killer. Exactly. A god slayer. Tentacles. Classic. At least not in a Shibari configuration. Gonna turn into gold? No. I was expecting second henshin, but she de-henshined instead. Yeah, why did she de-henshin? Did the tentacles do that? Or did she exert herself so much that she couldn't keep the henshin up? It's looking like a tiny little floating fetus. Well, big, huge floating fetus. Okay, so Miku is still here. Miku is still there. The bracer is still there. What the fuck is this fetus? Is it just a materialization of raw divine power? Not an actual, like, deity with a mind? Okay, build up her confidence a little bit. Oh. Okay, that was a little bit too dramatic of a shift in her demeanor. I wonder if it's gonna tip anybody off that something's wrong with her. Ringo! Yeah, that's Maria's Ringo song. Yeah. Apple, like the fucking apple of Eden. I just only connected two and two. Is the song about the forbidden fruit? Yes. Had to add it at the end. Okay, Elf9's fine. That's good. Are we inside of Hibiki's mind or inside of Miku's mind? Hibikis, I think. This smells of a you should be the one to kill me kind of a moment. Okay, so we were inside of Hibiki's mind. Gotcha. Oh, it's like supersonic. Can she fight, though? I mean, she put the whole world at risk because you mind controlled her to do that, so. And it's not like Elf9 Step is gonna fix anything. Miku? Oh, hello there. Fancy seeing you here. I did not expect them to make a return. The whole gang is here. Of course. Yes. All we need now is for Dr. Ver to return as well. Okay, spare bodies. Yeah, they look a little bit beaten up. And that's enough for Micha. Right, memories are a source of energy. Save Miku? Who's calling? Old Fart? Or Elf9? Okay, Elf9. Okay. So it is literally a fetus of a deity. Oh, that's the throne! And she's not wrong, of course. Found them? Found them. Yeah, thankfully those alchemists aren't as strong as Carol. Or even the previous trio of alchemists. So, our autoscorers might have a chance. You shall not pass. Hard to tell. Yeah. You're shaking a little. Yeah, they are just spare bodies, aren't they? Well, Micha didn't do much there. Okay, now she did something. We have 3 alchemists, 4 autoscorers. Mika, not Micha, Mika. Okay, so we're slowly shedding our team until only Elf9 is left and she has to do what needs to be done. Okay, gave her a little bit of a power boost. A little bit of motivation. Go ahead, you have my permission. And what's happening to you, Miku? Whomst? Okay. Oh, all 3 of them? Well, shit. Here I was hoping the autoscorers are gonna win. Okay. It kind of feels like a... maybe not a pointless return, but a little bit. They returned and were just immediately defeated and died. I guess it gave Elf9 the resolve she needed, though. You'll use some alchemy because you're a fucking alchemist. I mean, right? Oh, is that Carol taking the reins? Or is it just Elf9 using the fact that she has Carol's body? I did not expect to see the sentient again. Oh, the reflections. We're gonna have to go through it frame by frame. She didn't grow, also. Interesting detail. That sounded like Carol. That sounds very much like Carol. Oh, and that's the episode. Shit. See, this episode performed what we know as a subversion. Usually every single episode of this season had 3 episodes worth of stuff in it. This had just single storyline, so I instinctively thought there's gonna be more. And that is Carol's song? Yeah, that's Carol's song. It's not Genocide and Genocide. I did not expect the return of the autoscorers. I did not expect the return of Carol. I thought we might be getting some after credits scene, but I don't think we have quite the time for that. We'll see. And nothing. Okay. Phew. That episode really felt like no time has passed at all. Yeah, I'm looking at it in retrospect, and I have a feeling that I didn't say as much as I could because I was kind of pacing myself. Yeah, this episode felt very short. Very, very, very short. But not in a bad way. Not in a bad way whatsoever. Okay, I mean, I guess let's lengthen it a little by watching it again, shall we? Yes, we shall. That's always the answer. Last time on Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, this is some script in German, I'm assuming. Yeah, Mittelkörper and yeah, I don't know German. I have no clue what it says. Amulet, Therapy, Amulet, Kraftigende, Blume im Garten. Blume I recognize from Blumenkranz, but that's the extent of it. If you know what it says, if you know what's the meaning of it, actually, I can just Google it, I guess. I just hope I will not see any spoilers. Symphogear XV, episode 7, German text. Is it somewhere on a wiki somewhere? There's something on Reddit. Episode 7 discussion from a little ways ago. Yeah, I'm not gonna be searching through all those things. Yeah, I'm not gonna be digging any deeper into that because I'm afraid of encountering spoilers. So if you know what it says, let me know either in the comments, or if there is a lot of it, you can always join my Discord and tell me on the Discord, ping me, and I will read what it says. And now this one's usefulness is at an end, time to break her mind. And surprise, surprise, Carol is still alive. Carol is still alive. Some part of her, at least. I guess it's understandable. After all, it's Carol's body, so her brain, her synaptic connections, and knowing Symphogear, probably something like genetic memory or whatever pseudoscientific mumbo jumbo. And also, Elf9 was made in in what's the word? Fuck. Uh, Elf9 was made based on Carol as well. So there is a part of Carol inside of Elf9, right? So wouldn't surprise me if some part of Carol, if not her entire consciousness, was able to actually survive in Elf9's body, and perhaps they will reconvene. Perhaps they will merge together, Elf9 and Carol, into a singular mind. That's one way it can go. Or Elf9 can also forever remain schizophrenic. That's also a way it can go. Or, of course, the usual trope where Carol might decide to sacrifice herself again, or perhaps we might be able to find some spare body for Carol. That's yet another way it can go, of course. It's out of control. So they did want to use Miku somehow. They probably wanted to use her as a material for creating a god, but they didn't expect such a violent reaction. That would be my guess. Or they didn't expect the process to start so soon, or they didn't expect the process to be so strong, so powerful as to break through all of their limits and containment methods? Possibly. And this initially looked like an egg, kind of like a mummy. Just instead of bandages, it had it has those tentacles. But as we learn later, it actually kind of looks like a tiny little. Again, it's not tiny or little. It kind of looks like a fetus. Kind of looks like MODOK from Marvel, and it's just wrapped itself in those tentacles. This is great. This is great. This is amazing. I did not expect them to go full Looney Tunes with it. Just plugging the gun with her finger. And I don't think Chris expected that either. And she didn't expect it either. Surprise? To be honest, I'm just as surprised as you. That was great. I really did like that bit of tomfoolery with Looney Tunes logic. Ichiaval Ergetlam. Yeah, we are fighting the God Cocoon. Kirika's henshin is... I would need to watch them all back to back again, I guess, but I think her henshin is probably my favorite. Hibiki's is also great. Yeah, Hibiki's with those big, huge arms that get compressed into smaller ones. It's also great, but Kirika's henshin has a lot of that mechanical... I'm talking about mechanical stuff, and it's only showing, of course, conveniently, fan service, but I'm talking about things like that, right? A lot of pipes, a lot of wires. Every henshin has some of that to some degree, but because Kirika's weapon is sufficiently big, and because her armor is decently bulky, they can fit a lot of mechanical design in it. I'm the cutie who loves her steak rare. Cheers. I'll rip you apart with a scythe-nado, though it makes my head spin too, but whatever, I'll just do my best all day, every day. Our fight songs overlapping together in battle, tear down any walls between us and our future, tear down any walls between us and our... And we're running on pure high-octane love. I'm a bit immature, a bit incomplete. Our trust wipes the tears away, and they turn into stars. You're there waiting for me, my light of hope. You're there waiting for me. Let's go together, twin heart. They haven't been able to land an effective blow. Yeah, we know what happens when you try to fight a divine being. It just shifts into a version from another reality, and that version is unscathed. You can't really hope to defeat it. You can't really hope to kill it. You can't really hope to damage it unless you are the designated God Slayer. In which case, of course, that poses no issue. That, I think, was an interesting impact frame. Also, is that just a single tentacle growing in size and growing other secondary tentacles? I think that's what it is. Also interesting to see that her scythe wheel whip actually has a handle. It's actually like a existing physical weapon that exists in the world. Usually their base weapons are established as something that exists, that they have to hold, that they can let go of, they can drop, they can be disarmed, right? But once they start using those advanced forms of their weapons, it never really happens, does it? Right? When, I don't know, Tsubasa uses her Rain of Swords, it's not like this Rain of Swords is actually somehow referenced, somehow physical. You never see a post-battle scene where just multiple swords are embedded in the pavement right after the battle. None of that happens. Similarly here, this is always... I always treated using this weapon as a special attack, not as much transforming the weapon itself, if you catch my drift, if you know what I mean. So seeing this advanced weapon just laying on the floor with a handle, that kind of switches something in my perception of it. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Also a cool shot in general. Zooming in, looming in. Oh, I missed the impact frame again. Come on. Was there even an impact frame? There was, of course. Plenty of stars. Yeah, they took some lessons from Trigger and the Kainax with the amount of stars. And just a single frame, yeah, single frame of that big impact. Okay. And just like that, the tentacle was shattered. So seeing this is very curious. I can't lose. I told Miku we'd talk to each other, and she shatters those tentacles. Kinda looks like Chrysopia. Kinda looks like it's turning into gold. That's what made me think that she's going to henshin into her second form, into her Chrysopia form, alchemical form, whatever you want to call it, and the energy of that transformation is going to blow up the tentacles. But apparently that's not what's going on. Apparently it's not like the blow up from shedding the Symphogear. The energy from shedding the Symphogear, from dehensioning, is what blew up those tentacles. She blew up the tentacles and then dehensioned. I'm gonna be honest. This doesn't really sit well with me. Right? That she's been wrapped in the tentacles, got out, and that dehensioned her and damaged her enough to have to go to the hospital again. It seems a little overblown. It seems, honestly, it seems a little like it was done for the sole purpose of taking Hibiki out of the action so that she can triumphantly arrive at the last moment. And I'm never a huge fan of doing things just for plot convenience or just for a cool moment when those things don't make much sense. In my eyes, in my mind, Hibiki being defeated by just being wrapped in a few tentacles doesn't make much sense. She's been through worse, and it was never a problem. Also, the deity, the god fetus just stopping any attacks, that's also a little bit of a stretch, not gonna lie. They would have located us here before much longer. Yeah, I guess the divinity. I thought it's already Miku in divine form or something like that, but apparently it's just the raw divine power that became corporeal. Interesting, because it kinda implies that gods can be just born out of sheer pure energy. Like, you don't need a mind necessarily. A god with a mind of their own could realistically shed a little bit of their energy, and that blob of energy would take a more or less humanoid form, and perhaps with time develop its own mind. Some interesting implications here. I keep coming back to the theory of egregores, right? And it seems kind of sort of this way-ish. It's cool. I After I'm done watching XV and Zesoshinai and concerts and all that stuff, I'm gonna have to look up some analysis. Legit, I'm gonna have to look up some analysis where people go over, like, I don't know, the whole science of divine power. I'm 100% certain there is like a 4 hour long video essay somewhere on YouTube with a guy just talking about the mechanics of divine power in Symphogear. I'm 100% certain. It seems like a worthy topic. If we're nearing the final battle, we need to get rid of anything weighing us down. Sure, of course. Thanks to Tsubasa's timely decision to withdraw, we don't have to fear the worst. And she's blushing. She's giddy. Even Genjiro is taken aback. Protecting the weak is a sentinel's duty. I'm sure Kanada would have made the same decision. She says, smiling and blushing. That's too drastic of a shift. I hope something's actually gonna become of it. I hope that when it's revealed that she's been brainwashed by the old fart, Genjiro is gonna have some countermeasures prepared because, oh, I saw you acting so giddy when you were talking about being a sentinel. That was very out of character for you, so I knew something was up. You know? I really hope there is some payoff to it. We finished the data analysis, predictably transforming the waveforms to accommodate linguistic changes over time. Yeah, now it makes sense. The original song is probably in some ancient Sumerian or something, and its modern equivalent uses Japanese/English words instead. The melody remained the same, but yeah, the language of the lyrics changed. But the meaning and the power of it remains the same. The Anunnaki was humming a song from the homeland of Maria's ancestors. Where is the homeland of Maria's ancestors? I forgot. and I'm not gonna look it up because I risk running into spoilers. But I wanna look up lyrics to Apple. I wanna look up those lyrics. Do we have them somewhere? There it is, English. The apple floated in the sky, the apple dropped to the ground, stars were born, songs were born, and the Lulu Amel smiled forever. The stars kiss and the songs sleep. Where do they return home? Where do they return home? The apple dropped to the ground, the apple floated in the sky. Is the moon the apple? I don't know. I thought I'd gonna get something from here, but nope. I've no idea. Interesting. Not gonna look up the trivia. Again, I risk running into spoilers, so I'm not gonna do that. My first instinct was the apple is the forbidden fruit from the Garden of Eden. Right, we are dealing with Judeo-Christian mythology now, the bracer of Yahweh, and all that jazz. So why not bring Adam and Eve and the original sin? We know original sin is a thing, so hey, that's another thing. Is apple metaphorical here? Is the discovery of the primordial magic the apple, the primordial magic that later split off into song and into alchemy? Oh. The Anunnaki was humming a song from the homeland of Maria's ancestors. Also, Maria's song was significant, somehow, powerful. I was about to say something stupid. Although, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I was about to say, could it be that Maria is a direct descendant of Adam and Eve? But assuming Adam and Eve were the first humans, then everybody is a direct descendant from Adam and Eve. So that doesn't make much sense. But in the world of Symphogear, it might very well be there were other primordial humans, and perhaps it was just Adam and Eve that discovered the primordial magic. Maybe. Just, guessing here. I guess it won't hurt to note down Maria's potential connection to Adam and Eve. Maria's bloodline dash Adam and Eve question mark question mark question mark. I've no clue what it's gonna resolve to, but there might be something in that ballpark, is all I can say, really. We can safely assume that Miko and Elf9 have been held captive. Indeed. Just a hypothetical. Yeah. You're the only one I can fully entrust myself to. That was kind of ominous, and it very much seemed like a scene of, if I am to die by someone's hands, I would like those hands to be yours, kind of a moment. I don't think Hibiki will end up killing Miku. We might be led to believe that it's what happened. Wouldn't surprise me if an episode ended with Miku perhaps transformed into a deity and Hibiki, being the god slayer, having to kill that god, thus implying killing Miku, And then the next episode starts, and Miko is fine and dandy, just laying on the ground unconscious. Wouldn't surprise me if they went for something like that. Not in the slightest. Testing the right arm. That right arm is gonna be hit among all the ladies, for sure. Vibrating at supersonic speeds. Being able to crush concrete. And those are actually coffins. I thought there might be like flat panels that are just shaped like coffins, but no, they are just coffins. Probably filled with failed autoscorers. Or with bodies of people that have memories. For that generator to be able to harness those memories to generate whatever power they need. This body was left to me by someone I hold dear. She called for help, and help did come. The cavalry is here. I did not expect them to make a return. Not in the slightest. I expected we're gonna see Dr. Ver again. I expected we're gonna see Fine again. I would expect we're gonna see, I don't know, Saint Germain, Cagliostro, and Prelati again. I did not expect to see them. Not in my wildest dreams. I'm happy we did, though. I really did grow quite fond of them. So I'm glad they have their last moment of glory. They are just spare bodies, apparently, and yet they retain memories of the originals, at least to some degree. Interesting. Also, a little bit convenient, a little bit Deus Ex Machina-y, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it because it does make sense. Simply, it makes sense that Carol would have some prototypes or spare bodies for them stashed somewhere in the chateau. Would it make sense for them to wake up as soon as Carol slash Elf9 calls for help? I don't know, but I don't think it matters. It's a cool moment, so I'm gonna use the rule of cool here. And it's our duty to serve our master, indeed. Mika doing what Mika does, of course. I didn't notice at first that this is a throne room, and those are the pedestals. So of course Mika would be on the pedestal doing her pose. Although this is not her pedestal. Her pedestal would be on the other side of the corridor. If I recall correctly. I might not. It's been a while. I'm calling from the chateau. Miku is also here, of course. The divine being hasn't completely materialized yet, so there is still time. That kinda also implies that perhaps divine beings don't need vessels. It's not like you need a pure body or an autoscorer or an item or something like that for a divine being to materialize inside of, but rather they can just materialize out of thin air. Interesting. Hibiki is out of commission. Apparently, it's still kind of weird to me that being wrapped in a couple of tentacles just completely deleted her. And here come the alchemists. Bit of flamenco. I really do like those bits of flamenco they're doing. Yeah, I really did enjoy those autoscorers for how over the top they were, right? How flamboyant they were with all they were doing. Their designs are very screaming. Their actions, their JoJo posing, right? They are all very entirely very very powerful beings in the sense of presence. They have a lot of presence. I really did enjoy them as villains. And we are doing the thing where we keep shedding members of our team as we are headed closer and closer to the goal. Classic. Mika, of course, as always, I can't hold Master's hands with this big old claws of mine, and Elf9 always knows precisely and exactly what to say at any given moment. Your hands are really cool. I love them. I was hoping against all hope that the autoscorers are going to win. Alas. Alas, not the case. Kinda a little bit felt like the return of Cagliostro and Prelati, not gonna lie. That they were brought in for the last hurrah only to just die and not really do all that much. The return of the autoscorers also kinda a little bit feels like that. Like they were brought back into the show just to die, just to create some drama, just to be a tearjerker a little bit. To generate that initial hype of, oh, cool, the autoscorers are here. And then to generate the tears of, oh no, Mika is dead, right? Feels a little bit manipulative on behalf of the showrunners, on the side of the showrunners. I did like that they were here, for sure, and they did at least serve a purpose of, I guess, strengthening Elf9's resolve, giving her the resolve. So I guess at least in that, their appearance and death was better than Cagliostro, Prelati, and Saint-Germain, who just crysopiaed a nuke and disappeared into golden dust, which felt very useless sacrifice. This time around, the sacrifice is at least necessary, at least needed, right? They are protecting someone. Thanks to their sacrifice, Elf9 could survive, and without their sacrifice, there was no other feasible way for Elf9 to survive. In the case of Saint-Germain and her friends, I fully believe that any Symphogear user would be able to deal with a nuke, no problem, either redirecting it or shielding it or whatever. So their sacrifice kind of felt over the top and useless. This time around, there is at least some use, something came of their sacrifice. I wish we spent a little bit more time with them at least. Yeah. No, at least isn't the correct term to use here. I just wish we spent a little bit more time with them. That's how I'm gonna say it. And this is a very cool scene. Very cool shot. I love the lighting here. Really, like, contrasty and a very badass pose of Elf9. It's always cool seeing, like, cape or the hood of a hoodie kind of bellowing in the wind with some energy or superpowers going in the front. I always like the trope of hoodie superheroes or hoodie magic users, hoodie wizards. I don't know, there's something cool about it when you have someone dressed up in streetwear just casting fireballs. I don't know, I just like those sorts of themes. Yeah, very cool lighting here. And thus, Elf9 awakens. Awakens, henshins, with those threads. Those threads look very sketchy. Very, very like hand-drawn sketches. I really like this look. At times, kinda even reminds me of Madoka Magica aesthetic of the Witch World. At times reminds me of those powerful kinds of scenes from Kill la Kill, where, you know, Ryuko is going against Satsuki, and the art style just slowly devolves into just line art, then into a sketch, and then just pure white. Those sketch lines really remind me of that, and I do like it very much. And we can see how this post robe, I'm assuming, looks like when Elf9 / Carol isn't changing her proportions, which is also cool. Okay, reflections. That's what I wanted to see. Who's reflected? Autoscorers, of course. Yes, thank you. And just for a single frame, Mika is doing a face. That's a great detail. One frame of normal poses, one frame of Mika doing a face, and we're back to the henshin. The braid ever so slightly shorter. Added detail of those weird clock elements that wasn't there in Carol's henshin, I don't think. Although again, it's been a while since I saw Carol's henshin. And the thing that closed there, initially I thought it might be like she might have summoned a mecha or something, but no. It kind of looked like a mecha's head just clamping down. Stop pulling miracles when we're short on time. I am the murderer of miracles. Genocide and genocide. If we don't get genocide and genocide sung by Elf9, that's gonna be a wasted opportunity. Except now she wants to genocide the other alchemists and not the entire world. I wonder though, at this moment, how much of her is Carol, how much is Elf9? Is it Elf9 tapping into Carol's powers, or is it Carol taking the wheel? I wonder which is it. And Carol's song at the end. Is there a need for Valkyries here? Who can I take my frustration on? The only thing that is absolute is where I stand, and our mere mortal trifles none of my concern. The shades of my homeland linger around fading. Yeah, Carol's song. And I thought we're gonna get an after credits scene, but alas, we did not, in fact, get an after credits scene. Okay. That was a cool episode. That was a very cool episode. I was wondering, as I mentioned many a time, where are we going from here? Turns out there's still plenty of space to go, because the deity they summoned is just an artificial deity. It's just a cluster of energy that became corporeal. It probably doesn't have its own mind, it doesn't have its own goals or anything like that. It's just a mindless sentry, a little more, if not less, than an animal. So that's interesting. Because that means we can still step it up to fighting an actual fully realized, fully grown god. And from there, we can step it up to fighting a good and proper custodian that wasn't reborn or put in some artificial body or anything like that, but just a custodian arrives from the 17th dimension asking what the fuck is this noise in the next dimension over, right? And then we can potentially step it up, which is, I think, what's going to be the climax, what's going to be the finale. I'm probably going to be wrong about it, but fighting the super god, so to speak. I am yet again reminded of Gurren Lagann and the galaxy, observable universe scale fights. I fully expect a fight like that is afoot, and that's going to be the finale. A fitting finale. But there's still plenty of time until we get there, so anything and everything can happen. It's equally plausible that a fight like that is going to happen in episode 9. It wouldn't surprise me. And then they still find a way to jump the shark even further. It wouldn't surprise me either. This episode, though, I liked it. I did enjoy it, despite the criticism I had for it, because I did have a fair bit of criticism. Maybe it's because it's late and I'm tired. Maybe it's because, I don't know, whatever. I did enjoy this episode overall, for sure, 100%, there's no doubt about that. But I'm still not sold on Hibiki just being taken out of commission this easily. And I guess I did talk myself into being sold on the appearance of the autoscorers. They were needed to save Elf9. Their second deaths kind of a little bit felt like a cheap tearjerker, so I wasn't particularly too sold on that. But then again, I'm not particularly fond of drama in general, so that might just be my bias speaking. But their appearance was necessary, was needed, and they did what they needed to do, so not gonna criticize that. I guess my only criticism of this episode then is Hibiki being very easily taken out of commission. And seeing how much happened and how good this episode was overall, it's a little drop in the sea of the good things, so I just felt it's worth mentioning. This episode made me wonder who else is going to return. I did not expect Carol to return. I did not expect the autoscorers to return. And were they in the opening? I can't remember. I don't think they were. I think in the opening, when everybody is shown with their family, Carol is shown with... I don't remember. Yeah, Tsubasa is shown with her family, Maria with Serena, Hibiki with Fine and Song people, Chris with her parents, Kirika and Shirabe with mother, and Elf9 isn't shown, period. No, she isn't shown with anybody. And we otherwise don't see autoscorers, we don't see Carol in the opening. At least as far as I can tell. Maybe I missed something, entirely possible. But we do see Fine, so I wonder, maybe Fine is also going to be back. Maybe Dr. Very is also going to be back, and the finale is going to be one big Avengers Assemble. Entirely plausible. I wonder. I also wonder if they are going to use Carol for some purpose. Carol's knowledge of alchemy, after all, should be a decent bit better than Elf9's. At least that's the impression I got, where Elf9 has that book knowledge of alchemy. Carol also has her miracles and her forced robe and stuff like that. So I wonder if maybe Carol slash Elf9 will be able to bump up our relics even higher to some umpteenth henshin? I don't know. Maybe she'll be able to turn the bracer into Miku's Symphogear. I know, I'm just spitballing here. But Carol appearing just to save Elf9 in this episode would be a huge waste. And it remaining unaddressed later on would be a huge waste. And the killing of Carol for the second time would similarly be a huge waste. So I hope they don't do that. As far as where we can go in the next episode, well, we're gonna have to fight the god, the fledgling god, but the first fight that is to be had is, of course, Carol slash Elf9 versus the alchemists. The winner is quite obvious there, Elf9, so I wonder what's going to stop her. Because I don't think we would get rid of those three antagonists halfway through the season. Either something's going to blow up, perhaps Miku is gonna turn into a god or something, and that will cause everybody to just run for their lives, including Elf9. Or perhaps Grumpy Old Fuck is going to make an appearance and somehow, I don't know, use bullshit no jutsu to seal Elf9 or, something like that. Wouldn't surprise me either. Motherfucker is as strong as he's old and demented, so wouldn't surprise me if he was an even match for Elf9, even with Carol's help. Because, yeah, if Elf9 were to win this fight, it would leave us with just a singular antagonist that hasn't even been revealed, officially to the characters in the show. So Elf9 can't win. Elf9 can't win in any way that matters. She can win by incapacitating the alchemists and saving Miku, and that's the extent of what she can do. Perhaps stealing the bracer as well, but she can't kill the alchemists or destroy the lab. Okay, maybe destroying the lab is in the scope of what she can do. Interesting. Interesting where they're gonna go with it. But yeah, now that we've learned that this deity that was created, that was made corporeal, it's not a full god, the way we saw that earlier god in the previous season with Hibiki embedded inside of it. Was it the previous season? It was the previous season where Hibiki became a god. This is just the shell, just the energy, without anybody actually piloting it, without any consciousness. So we still have a couple of steps to go. So I am a little bit more relaxed when it comes to the pacing. I don't worry about what the pacing is going to be as much as I did. I mean, I wasn't worried anyway, because I have full trust that they're gonna do a good thing, but I was wondering. And now it kind of falls into place a little better for me. Anything else that I would like to say about this episode? Let's quickly skim through it, but I don't think there's anything more to be said. I also wonder, I guess, what will become of Tsubasa. She's mind controlled to some degree, so I wonder if she's going to fight against the other users at the behest of the old fort. Maybe we're gonna have a dramatic fight of, Tsubasa protecting the Noble Red, for example, or something like that. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if there was something like that. Because she's mind controlled and not really much became of it so far. She's in a better mood, but besides that, she didn't really do much under the influence of Grumpy Old Fart. So we'll see where it goes. We will see where it goes. She might be given the gold sword that her grandfather dearest wants to forge out of the bracer. If they manage to forge anything out of it. Yeah, plenty of ways it can go, so there's no point overanalyzing it, I think, because it can go in any number of ways. I'm just wasting time thinking of what's going to happen because we have no way of knowing, of course. Yeah, I think we're gonna end it here. I don't think I have anything more to say besides that. But maybe you do. And if you do have something more to say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please. If you do want to talk spoilers, my Discord is here, also linked in the description. You can join it. There's a Symphogear channel. You can spoil to your heart's content. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel somewhere down here to be notified of future releases of not only Symphogear XV, but also Benneria Saito Sanisakai ni Iku and Oyuki Menakaina and other shows that will be coming at you in the future. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or Throne, links in the description below. On Patreon for $10 a month, you can get early access to non-seasonal shows like Symphogear, Madoka Magic, and others, and for just a single $1 a month, you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And on Throne, you can pitch indirectly towards my purchase of better gear, better software, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps a lot. And eventually, in the future, maybe with all your support, I'll be able to do this shtick full time. That's the dream, isn't it? But yeah, right now, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the list of wonderful people who are doing their part to fulfill that dream of mine. And they don't need to become gods to do that. That was bad outro.